Have you ever wondered if a Gibson Les Paul is for you? An actual made in America Gibson Tribute T Les Paul is now available for around $1,100. We'll take a look at this guitar and compare it to some of its pricier brothers. We'll go over the features, what we like about it, what we don't like about it, the specs. We'll play a little bit for you, and then maybe you'll be able to decide whether this brand new affordable Gibson Les Paul is the guitar for you. I've got my Made in America genuine strap here, since I've got a genuine Made in America guitar. Just like its more expensive counterparts, it's a maple top with a mahogany body. There are two Gibson pickups, Gibson USA, the 498T in the bridge position, the 490T in the rhythm position. It comes with obviously a three-way switch. It didn't come with a poker chip. I ordered that from Gibson separately. It comes without that now, as a lot of the other Les Pauls do. I'm old school. I like it. It just seems weird to me without it. It has a satin finish, which saves them money, but I really love the feel of it. I think over time this finish will age nicely. I think the wood will check and we'll get that beautiful aged feeling. It has genuine Gibson hardware. No fancy stuff going on, 2-volume, 2-tones. There's no circuit boards in this. There's no dip switches in the thing. It's not weight relieved. It is a heavy Les Paul. When you grab it, it's old school in that regard. One of the places that they save money is on the back of the neck and the back of the body. They didn't use what's known as filler in the mahogany, and mahogany has a grain that's kind of 3D. You don't just see it, it actually has little pits, and usually they fill that in and then they buff that out before they put a coat of finish on it. With this, you can actually feel, especially on the back, you can feel those little divots. I kind of like it. It's kind of rustic. The back of the neck is sort of the same thing, and what I really like about the fact, not only is it less expensive, I'm not a big fan of the super sticky glossy necks. This one is much smoother. Your hand moves up and down. Another place they saved money was on binding. There's no binding on this, but if you can see, and I'll show you in another shot too, it's actually the maple top. They left it unfinished, so it has the look of having binding. And that was one of the things I never really liked about the studio Les Pauls, was the fact that they didn't have any binding. It just looked weird and cheap to me. No neck binding, but of course again you got the mahogany neck and you have the rosewood fingerboard. Again, I don't care about that. There is a contrast between those two woods. It's kind of like binding. The rosewood fingerboard, it is plecked like all the other Gibsons, and that's basically a machine that makes sure that all the frets are level, not just relative across the fingerboard but to each other. Supposedly better than the human eye. So it is plecked just like its more expensive brothers. It does have old school Gibson tuners on it. I really like those. Another place they save money is the logo is silk screened on there now on this particular model, like the signature. It's not an inlaid logo. But other than that, those are really the things that they sort of skimped on that save money. What's the first thing you'd want to do when you get your hands on a gold Les Paul and you're a 70s kid like me? You want to go into one of the famous gold Les Paul players from the 70s with a little bit of Boston. Take the volume knob and get it a lot cleaner without losing a lot of volume. As far as the pickups go, I like the pickups. They are kind of like the classic 57s. They've got a little bit more of a mid-range bump. And of course, what would any Les Paul demo be without a good blast through a Marshall? Because that's the ticket. That's the magic potion there. The Les Paul, the Marshall combined there for a little bit. If you're an 80s kid like me, you want to get into some slash licks, you can just rock the Les Paul. It's the neck pickup. That's the special sauce that you got to use. And for our last sample, we'll throw a bone to the young out there, or the young at heart, that want to just hear just how far this guitar will go as far as getting the heavy chunka. It'll do all right. Like I say, it's not the Uber Shredder EMG equipped metal guitar that you're looking for, but it'll go. I think people were interested in how the harmonics were off these pickups. I heard a lot of people say they couldn't get the squeals because the pickups weren't powerful enough. They're just wussies. So my conclusion of this particular Gibson Les Paul is, let's face facts. A $1,000 guitar is never going to play the same way that a $3,000 guitar is going to play. It's not going to feel the same, it's not going to sound the same, it's not going to be the same. That money matters. But with that out of the way, this is a good way for people that want an entry-level Les Paul. It's solid as a rock. I don't love the feel of the neck. It's not even the profile so much. And again, I haven't had a whole lot of time to play this. But there's just something about the frets. And I normally like big frets. These are really big and they're really fat. And honestly, I have probably 4 or 5 Epiphone Les Pauls left now, maybe 6. And I've had more than that. And bottom line for me would be, if you really care about the name on the headstock, this is a really good way to get that formula and get a real American-made Gibson Les Paul. If you care more about playing, or if you want to buy a guitar as a mod platform, you still can't beat the Epiphone Les Pauls. And I know what's going to happen. I won't get Gibson sending me any free stuff because of this video. But I have to be honest, you know, as high as I was on the last Strat that I reviewed, and again, I'm not saying I hate this guitar, but you know, it doesn't match up to, at least in my mind, the other Les Pauls that I've played, the real Gibsons. To be fair, I did play a Gibson Les Paul. I think it was a traditional. It was $2,700 or something at a music store locally, and that didn't really jump into my DNA either. And you have to understand, there's certain brands, and it's like cars. You've dreamt your whole life of a Gibson Les Paul, so you sort of mythologized it in your mind, and you play a series of wannabes, you know, the Asian versions, the stripped down things, and they don't quite get you there. And then you actually try the real Les Paul, and it may not live up to your expectations because they were too overblown in your mind anyway. So there may be some of that going on. But Gibson Les Pauls, especially for the money that they cost, it's pretty much clear that if you want to buy one, and I'm not saying that I won't eventually, you want to try them out. You don't want to order that online, and you want to go to a store that has a good selection. And if you're looking at a specific model, you want to make sure there's at least 5 or 6 of those models there that meet your standards, and play through them, because they can be, it's a handmade product, even though a lot of it's computer controlled, and there can be a variety. Again, for $1,000, $1,100, $1,150 for an American made guitar, it's real. They've done a really good job. There's you know, nothing that you can find here where the workmanship is shoddy, where things aren't done right or anything like that. It's a super straight, intonates well, solid guitar. Did you like the video? Make sure you click the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Let us know how we're doing in the comments. And as always, for GearGasms, I'm Alan Barnes saying we'll see you next week.